Nadat op 29 juli in Southport een 17-jarige jongen van Rwandese afkomst 3 kinderen tijdens een dansles doodstak, is het onrustig in Engeland. Geschokte autochtone Britten gaan dagelijks de straat op. Ze demonstreren tegen het geweld door niet geïntegreerde immigranten en tegen de verloedering van hun wijken. Ze demonstreren tegen de overheid die de immigratie aanmoedigt en meer geld aan de opvang van nieuwkomers besteedt dan aan de eigen burgers.
Why are we all here today?
Why are we all here today?
Yeah. What's the reason?
We want to take a country back.
We're a very warm, open country. If you come here with love in your heart, we love you. If you come here to commit crime and to attack our children, we have a problem with that. And I think that the government has facilitated that, and that's why you're seeing so many people on the streets.
De Britse overheid en de media nemen de protesten niet serieus en negeren de onderliggende problemen. Volgens hen zijn de protesten het werk van extreem rechts en moet hard politiegeweld en ingrijpende censuur de rust weer terugbrengen.
Why can we not fly our own English flag in our own country? Do you know a taxi driver gets fined £1,000 if they fly the British flag? Do you know that?
Hello Jim, nice to have you with us and welcome to our first edition of Indepen Nieuws. Can you briefly introduce yourself, Jim, to the Dutch audience?
Yes, thanks very much indeed, Susha. It's a pleasure to be here with Indepen. I am Jim Ferguson. I'm a British patriot. I'm reporting from London in the United Kingdom. And my background is that I'm a business entrepreneur. I've been in business many years. I buy companies, sell companies, and I got very politically active as well. In fact, I was a parliamentary candidate with the Conservative Party in the UK. And then fast forward a few years later, I joined the Brexit Party, and I was a parliamentary candidate at the European level, and then fought the Westminster general election at the end of 2019 with Nigel Farage. I also decided that I needed to do something about what we were witnessing in the world, especially with the attacks on freedom. So I decided to create a freedom movement, an international freedom movement called Freedom Train International. And that I built it over a period of about 15 months, reached out to many people in the United States, Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and many other countries. And then we launched it on the anniversary of the Canadian Freedom Movement, just at the beginning of the year. So just a few short months ago, but we already have thousands of members in the United States, Canada, and really all around the world. And we're all about freedom of speech, freedom of movement. We're against medical mandates. We're against any kind of censorship as well. We believe in peace, and we just want to live our lives the way that we want to live them. And Freedom Movement, Freedom Train International within the Freedom Movement is now the largest and fastest growing freedom movement in the world.
Well, thank you, Jim. Straight to business, Jim. We see that the last few weeks the UK is descending into chaos. Can you bring us up to speed about what is currently happening in the UK with these protests?
Well, yes, we've had a change of government. There was another general election on the 4th of July, and Keir Starmer, who heads up the Labour Party, is now the Prime Minister. But he has gotten off to a very, very bad start, and he has alienated millions of British people, ordinary citizens who are concerned about the massive numbers of an increasing illegal immigration into England and Wales and Scotland, and of course Northern Ireland as well. But this is a pattern that is really upsetting people, because he has said that people who speak out against massive illegal immigration are racists, or they're far right, or they're extremists, which is simply not the case. They're just ordinary people like you and I who are concerned about the numbers that are coming into the country, affecting the education, the healthcare, and indeed the lawlessness that's breaking out as well. And there's now a 2-tier policing system in the UK, which has upset so many people. But I can tell you, being a Brexit Party parliamentarian, that it's not anything to do with far right. When I joined the Brexit Party, to my surprise, I found out that there was a lot of people in the Brexit Party, probably a good 50%, who were from the traditional left, people that just believed in Brexit, believed in independence and doing things that for British interests. So what he's accusing millions of British people of being is simply not true. They're just ordinary people, working class people who want their country to be safe and prosperous for them and their communities and their children and families.
Can you give us an insight about the number of immigrants that have been pouring in the UK the last decades?
Well, it's a great point, Susha. If I give an example of Ireland, Ireland has 3 million Indigenous Irish people in it. So it's not a big population. But over the last 4 to 5 years, the population has increased to 5 million. So that 2 million has come largely from, illegal immigration. And of course, they've seen stabbings, they've seen rapes, they've seen assaults on children and women. And the chaos that is being caused in Ireland is off the charts. Well, that's now starting to happen in England and Wales as well. So we are seeing massive numbers coming in, so many, in fact, that they've run out of hotels to house them, and they're now putting them up in military bases, evicting military families from their accommodation to make way for illegal migrants. And they're all young military-aged men. There's no asylum seekers. There's no women and children. It's all young men that's flooding into the countries.
Our government are increasing the amount of people in our country. 1,000 a day are coming in by the boats without being vetted, without passports. Our laws and legislations are that you cannot enter a country without a passport. Yet we're letting 1,000 in every day. It's out of control.
Well, Jim, and the mainstream media in the UK, but also in Holland, is reporting that these protests are initiated by extreme right extremists. What's your opinion about that?
Well, I've spent a lot of time in many cities across England and the UK and talked to many people who are genuinely concerned about the massive increase in illegal immigration. They're not racists. They're not extremists. They're just ordinary working class people like us who care about what's going on in their communities. And we've seen very violent protests taking place where people were being attacked by radical extremists. And that's unacceptable. We've seen rising crime levels, but these people are not far right. They're not extremists. They are just ordinary people. It's the same in Ireland. It's the same in Wales. People are getting concerned, and rightly so, about the sheer volume of the numbers that are coming in. Remember, Susha, these are illegal migrants. Why is the government bending over backwards and handing them free healthcare and benefits and housing? It's like there's a two-tier society building up.
And on social media, we see police taking hard measurements against civilians. Can you confirm that?
Yes, it is true. We've had Sir Mark Rowley, who is the head of the London Metropolitan Police, making statements that anybody that even covers or talks about these riots could be breaking the law. Yet the United Kingdom has what's called the Magna Carta, where our opinions and free speech and freedom of speech are enshrined in law. So it looks like the globalists are making it up as they go along. And Sir Keir Starmer, who is the Prime Minister, he's endorsing that type of action. And people are being arrested. Independent journalists are being arrested. And this is a sign of a dystopian, dictatorial regime that unfortunately is now in place. And wherever we find globalists infiltrating our respective parliaments and governments, the same thing happens there. We've seen it in Canada. We're starting to see it in other European nations. Of course, it's happening now in the UK. It's a very worrying, very troubling period of time. And we must resist it. We must speak up for the truth at every time. There are a lot of protests being organised. People are very upset that they've been branded as far-right racists, when in actual fact, they are just ordinary people that are concerned about the effects on housing, social care, education, hospital beds. We don't have the capacity to take in the world's population into a tiny little island here in the United Kingdom. We just don't have the resources to do it. And any country that has strong nationalistic tendencies, like they're proud of their flag, they're proud of their heritage, they're proud of their culture, they are an obstacle. So by flooding countries with massive amounts of illegal migrants, they are actually destabilizing from within and weakening those countries. There could be a threat of a world war coming. We need to be ready for that. We need to connect with people all around the world, and all the old divisions, all the old previous conflicts, all the old wars. We don't forget our history, but the common enemy now is the globalists. It's about us as humanity coming together, uniting together, regardless of race or color or religion or national boundaries. The time now has come to unite. And those of us that love our countries, those of us that love freedom, those of us that want to work in partnership with other people in other nations, must now come together and unite. And when we do that, the globalists will lose. There's no doubt about it. They can't control everybody. And I think that there is huge benefits coming. We just need to keep on watching what's going on around there. And I have to say a huge tribute. I pay tribute to Indepen in the Netherlands, because you guys are really the cutting edge news source over there. And I'm very, very proud to have had the good fortune to come across you and to have been interviewed on your channel. And I hope that we will be able to have interactions again as we move forward. So thank you very much indeed for having me on with you.
Thank you so much, Jim, for being with us and commenting on the situation in England. We will follow this closely in Holland and would love to reach out to you in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy to work with you guys, and I'll give you any updates that we have that are coming through. It's worth watching the situation very closely, because it is probably going to happen in Holland and the Netherlands as well as other European countries. And it's thanks to independent media like yourselves that we're getting the word out and making a difference for people all around the world. So I'm very happy to give you regular updates on what's going on.